Thank you. All right, let me just see if I can just... Okay, let me go back here. All right. It's okay without the sound. Oops. All right, basically, you get the gist of this, yeah? Are you stuck in your past? Are you stuck like this little boy refused to try and be creative like his brother to get out of that trap they were in? Insanity, according to the scientists, he said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So the little boy decided that he needs help, but he doesn't want to do anything about it himself. He's expecting help from everyone else. Maybe that's the reason why we are not experiencing breakthroughs in our life, because we are expecting people to do it for us. So there was a story in the Bible about this man who was born lame, and he was lame for 38 years. And for 38 years, he lay down beside the pool of Bethesda, because there was a belief that whenever the water is stirred, the first person to jump into the water will be healed. Right? But he was lame, so he will never be the first person to jump into the pool. If I have a migraine, but I'm still okay with my body, if I have a migraine, I want to be healed, the water still, I will be the first one to jump into the pool. Right? In that kind of environment where everybody wants to be healed, you know what I mean? You got to do it for yourself. But this guy laid there for 38 years. I mean, after a year, you know that, okay, nobody's going to help you. You got to do something proactive. Yet he lay there for 38 years of his life. He spent 38 years of his life laying down beside the pool. Never get anyone to help him. He was never healed. Maybe this could be what's happening in our lives, because we are just going through that cycle of pain. We never broke through into the newness of God, the blessings of God, because we are still stuck in our past. And our mind is still stubborn. This is the way I am living my life, and this will always be the way. And then Jesus came, and Jesus asked him, do you want to be well? Do you want to get well? Now, interestingly, Jesus did not ask him, do you want to be healed? Jesus asked him, do you want to get well? Interesting question, right? The word well in Greek is hygieis. This is where we have the English word hygiene from. It means whole, to be whole again. It's not just a physical ailment that needs healing, but your body and your mind, your soul needs that correction as well, needs some calibration in your life. And so Jesus was asking him, do you want to get well? He wanted healing, but Jesus asked him, do you want to get well? Perhaps this is the question that Jesus is asking us. Enough of all this, apathetic attitude that you're not doing anything for yourself. Do you want to get well? It's not, do you want to get healed, or do you want to be healed? Maybe we are not experiencing the breakthrough because we are asking the wrong thing. It's a simple question that Jesus asked. Do you want to get well? And it requires a simple answer, right? Yes, no, I want to get well. No, I don't want to get well. Simple question requires simple answer. And the way Jesus asked him means Jesus knows something about this guy. Because as soon as Jesus asked him, do you want to get well? His response was, I have no one to help me. Hey, you, I have no one to help me into the pool. When the water is still, when I'm trying to get in, someone else always goes down ahead of me. I mean, after 38 years, you should know this. I mean, after 38 years, you should know this. It's like Jesus is looking at him, duh. Do you want to get well? That's the question. It's not about healing. It's not about blessings. It's about getting well. A holistic body, soul, spiritual, body, soul, and spirit getting well. Simple question that requires a simple answer, but he made things more complex because he had that victimized mindset. Everyone must help me. So that victimized mindset leads to a sense of entitlement. Can't you see I'm lame? You should be helping me. You should be helping me. And so he had this entitlement mindset and he demand that everybody should help him. And after he said this, Jesus told him, and he was lame. He was lame, remember? But he has a master degree in blame. Just one letter changed everything else. Yeah, that described him, right? He's lame, but he's blaming others. He don't do brainstorming, he do blame storming. Yeah, that's him. And then Jesus told him, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. That means, enough, staying here for 38 years, take up all your belongings. You're not going to sleep here anymore. Take up your mat, walk, move on in life. Jesus was telling him to move on. Enough of staying here. You are literally rotting your life away. Enough. Pick up your mat. I believe this was the only person that Jesus told this to after he healed them. Get up. Pick up your mat. You're not going to stay here anymore. You're not going to sleep another night here. Get up and walk. And he did. Sometime later, Jesus met him again, this time in the temple. And Jesus said to him, see, you are well again. Maybe I am reading too much into this, but when Jesus said again, that means he may have been healed before, but his soul, his spiritual life is not yet healed. Maybe he went back to his pain because he kept sinning. He kept going back to the past. Jesus saw him. See, you're well again. Don't sin again. Otherwise, something worse may happen to you. Perhaps this could be the story of our lives. We go back our old ways over and over and over again. Contrast this man who was passive in seeking healing, laying down by the pool of Bethesda, expecting people to help him. Contrast this story to Mark chapter 5, verses 21 to 43, about these two persons. Jairus, a synagogue leader, and a woman who had suffered from a bleeding disorder for 12 years. Jairus was like the leader of a synagogue. And, he's leading this congregation. But he had a problem. His daughter, 12 years old, is dying. And with all his wealth and all his resources, he couldn't find anyone to heal his daughter. So there was no breakthrough. I mean, I'm a dad, I have a daughter. If I have a daughter who is dying, I would be desperate. And I suppose this man was desperate. And he heard about Jesus passing through town. People were talking about Jesus. He healed the sick. He opened the eyes of the blind and all that. So he heard about Jesus. But, hey, I'm a leader of a synagogue. That guy is a fake. That's what they believe. They don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. So all my colleagues, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, were saying that he's a fake. He's not a Messiah. But he did perform some miracles. maybe he can heal my daughter. His wife was was crying next to the baby girl, the little daughter, and obviously there will be some conflict. The Bible didn't describe all this, right? The Bible just said that he fell at Jesus' feet. But what was going on in a home? Because nobody knew, the author wasn't there in their home, but I can almost imagine what was going on, right? It would be, what will be going on in my home if I have a daughter who is dying? I would be desperate. And the wife would be calling out to him, Jairus, do something. Yeah, I spent a lot of money on all the doctors, the physicians. They couldn't heal her. Do something. There's this man called Jesus. Go to him. Me going to... They cannot even pronounce his name. They cannot even say his name. Me going to... If I go to him, everybody will know. Remember, I'm a leader of a synagogue. If my members in the synagogue saw me going to Jesus, what will happen to my synagogue? What will happen to my position? And the wife, obviously, more distraught than anybody else because it was her daughter. And she screamed at her husband, do something. Just go. And Jairus would have just opened his door, and then he went to look for Jesus, and midway he stopped. He stopped. What if I go to Jesus and he refused to come to my home? And then all the Pharisees, my colleagues, were there. I have a lot to lose, because if he refused to come to my house, then my colleagues saw me going to Jesus, I would have lost my job. Is it worth it? I suppose there's a torment in his mind. He came back home, and the wife saw him back. Jesus coming with you? No, I did not go. Do something, Jairus! Finally, he decided. He decided to risk everything for the sake of his daughter, and ran to Jesus. And when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. Remember, this guy is a high socioeconomic status guy. He's the leader of the synagogue. People respected him. But when he saw Jesus, he fell at Jesus' feet, pleading fervently with him. It's not like, excuse me. Jesus, there was a lot of people around Jesus, right? Because he's a man of dignity, man of position. He would not lower himself. But at the moment, he did not do this. He did not say, excuse me. You know who I am? Excuse me. You, Jesus? Me, Jairus, the leader of the synagogue. You come to my house. He did not do that. He ran to Jesus. Excuse me. Saw Jesus. He bowed down before Jesus, fell down on his feet and pleaded earnestly. He says, pleaded fervently. It's not like, Jesus, please, can you come to my house? It's like, Jesus, please, my daughter is dying. He made that decision to go to Jesus. And Jesus just said, okay, let's go. I mean, all this traveling of whether Jesus will come, whether you will lose my job, it's just wasting time. We just got to be decisive. If you want to come to Jesus, decide it, let's go and let Jesus come into your life and then change and alter your pathway in your life. And Jesus said to him, okay, let's go to your house. And everybody was whispering, taking their cell phone and take picture of Jesus and Jairus and say, Jairus there, yeah, it's a leader of synagogue, kneeling down in front of Jesus. Must put on Facebook, must let everybody know. If this was happening in the 21st century, it will be up on people's Facebook or Instagram. And he will be so exposed then. Jesus got him up. I said, okay, take me to your house. So there was a crowd that was curious. What is Jesus going to do? And so they were walking. It's called a J and J walk, Jairus and Jesus walk. And so they were walking with people pressing in because there was a huge crowd that was following Jesus and Jairus because they want to see what's going to happen next. And just when the crowd was moving, there was this woman who was hiding because she was suffering from constant bleeding. And she had suffered a great deal from many doctors. And over the years, she had spent everything she had to pay them, but she had not gotten better. She actually became worse. There was the law of Moses that when a woman is bleeding, is menstruating, they cannot touch any man, lest she will be stoned to death. Because there was a belief of transferring of all the soil and things like that to the man. And so she seemed alone. She seemed to be on her own, abandoned perhaps by her husband after 12 years. She spent everything that she got. And she was proactive. She was seeking healing. Unlike the man who's laying there for 38 years, she was seeking healing. She paid doctors, physicians to help her to get healed, but none could help her, almost alluding to the fact that she was cheated by all these physicians. Then she saw a crowd walking by her, and she saw Jesus. She heard about Jesus, what he had done. He healed the sick, opened the eyes of the blind man, and he said, maybe that man can heal me. Maybe. But he's surrounded by so many people. What can I do? Maybe he can heal me, but I cannot do anything. Bye, healing. Bye, healer. But she decided, I want to get healed at all costs. And so, when they were walking, when a group of men were walking, they kick up a dust like this, right? They kick up a dust. And so that means she thought to herself, I can crawl underneath all those feet and nobody knew I'm there. She decided to go to Jesus, but in an unconventional way, because she cannot be seen as touching Jesus, because if she touched Jesus, and people know that she is suffering from this constant bleeding for 12 long years, she would be stoned to death. And so she dived into the legs of all the men. And Jesus wasn't stationary, by the way. Wasn't stationary. If Jesus was stationary, crying to him is not much of a problem. Jesus was moving, remember? So it's like, hey, wait, don't go so fast. Jesus was walking. She was crawling. And she was crying. Where Jesus? The Bible says she touched the hem of Jesus' garment. She approached Jesus and touched the hem of Jesus' garment. And that's when Jesus felt power left him. And he asked, who touched me? His friends, disciples were saying, Jesus, don't joke lah. There's so many people around you. You ask, who touched you? Ayo. Assuming his disciples are Singaporean. Can you imagine if they all speak English? And Jesus stopped. Can you imagine? Everybody was in motion, moving one direction. And then Jesus stopped. When Jesus stopped, everybody stopped. When everybody stopped, you know what? The dust died down. And there was this woman who was crawling away. When the dust died down, everybody could see this woman. And Jesus saw this woman. And then she was like, oopsie. She was healed. After she touched Jesus' garment, she was healed. It's like everybody now stopped, and then everybody's going this direction, and she was crawling in the opposite direction. Oops. And then she turned around, and Jesus and her eyes met. And the Bible said she was terrified. She was healed for a second. She could be killed. She was terrified because under the law of Moses, she could be killed. But Jesus spent time with her. Jesus went to her, and then she then told the story of her suffering for past 12 years. And that's why it was recorded by all this gospel writer, what happened to her, how much money she spent, and things like that. So it was recorded in the conversation between Jesus and this woman. It seems that it was quite bitter towards all these physicians and doctors who may have cheated her. So how long does it take to describe 12 years of pain? I don't know. I have patients, we're giving them 1 hour each time. Sometimes 1 hour not enough for them. Wow, 1 hour up already, doctor. Oh, you can have another 30 minutes. I mean, you got to express all your stories, your narratives of what happened and all that. So Jesus actually spent time with this woman. And then at the end of the conversation, Jesus told this woman, daughter, your faith have made you well. Again, the word well. Go in peace. Your suffering is over. Where was Jesus going originally? Jairus' house. Remember the J&J walk? Right? They were all walking towards Jairus' house. And then all of a sudden, this woman potong jalan, cut queue. This woman cut queue. Jairus was like, he's going to my house, he's going to my house. And then this woman stopped Jesus. It's like, hello, I queue number 1, you queue number 2, you later, huh? I would be flustered. Jesus, my daughter is dying. Hello. She is not life and death. Oh, my daughter is dying. But credit to this man. He did not complain. How long did Jesus spend with this woman? We don't know. Even if it's just for 15 minutes, it's too long for someone whose daughter is dying. And the daughter did die. Because the servant from his household came and told him, your daughter is dead. Don't bother the teacher anymore. You know what? Jesus was talking to this woman, okay, go in peace and all that. The servant came and spoke to Jairus and said, your daughter is dead. Don't need to bother this teacher. Jesus was talking to this woman. Jesus was hearing what was going on. Don't think that Jesus is not listening to you. I have a mobile phone, but God has a mobile throne. His Wi-Fi and his 5G is always very strong. He hears you. I would be distraught to receive that news if only this woman did not intercept. And Jesus heard it and went to him and said these 4 powerful words. Don't worry, just believe. Are you going through challenging times right now? Maybe this is the 4 words that God is wanting you to hear. Don't worry. Just believe. And Jesus went to the house of Jairus and raised this 12-year-old girl from the dead. Jairus' household experienced a breakthrough. That woman with the issue of blood experienced a breakthrough. What about you? 3 steps to breakthrough. Number 1, you got to decide what you want. You got to make that decision. Do you want it or do you don't want it? Quit complaining about everybody. Quit making people as part of your decision making. It is for you. Do you want healing? Do you want to be well? Do you want to have a breakthrough? It's not about everybody else. It's not about someone who have wounded you 5, 10, 20 years ago. It has got nothing to do with them. It is the question that you need to ask, you need to answer. When Jesus asks you, do you want to get well? You have to make that decision, yes or no. You got to decide what you want. Sometimes it's our mind that's playing tricks in our lives. You've got to win the mind first. Champion the mind. I have decided and I'm not turning back. This old gospel song, right? I have decided. You know this song? Yeah, okay, good. If you know this song, then I know what generation you're from. You got to win the mind first. Stabilize the mind. Stop that wishy-washy. Should I go? Should I not go? Some of us are doing the tango. Tango, when you dance tango, you never go anywhere. Forward, backwards, forward, backwards, forward. This is what tango is. You know, every time your pastor preach on Sunday, she will give an altar call. Jesus is here. You want to have the breakthrough? You want to be here? And some of us, go, don't go, don't go. Make that decision. If you don't want it, then don't want it. If you want it, then come. Make that decision. Jeez, you know, I love Nelson Mandela, read all his books, and he once said this, let me mimic him. I never lose. I either win or learn. Do I sound like him? Okay, well, I try. You see, the thing is, you make the decision, all right, whether it's right or wrong, make that decision, then don't think about losing, think about learning. If this is not the right decision, then learn from the decision. Stop that tango, go, don't go, do, don't do, come, don't come. You know, stop it. If you want to have the breakthrough, you have to be decisive. That woman was decisive. I don't care. I'm diving into the legs of those men and I'm going to touch Jesus and I believe that he's going to heal me. Finally, Jairus made that decision. I forget everything that I own, my position, my assets and all that. So what if I lose my job? I'm going to go to Jesus. Jairus and a woman made that decision. 10 years ago, I was invited by this organization called People for Care and Learning. They invited me to head this organization. And I was feeling a bit jaded in Singapore after 40 years of ministry. So I thought, I need some new excitement. It's like, yeah, I've been to America very time, school there and all that. And now, there was this opportunity for me to head this organization. They said, do you want to come? Yeah. Why not? I made the decision. By the way, I made the decision because both my children were studying there. And I thought when they finished their college, they would come back they would stay there, like most children would, right? And that's why we said yes to this organization. Okay, they headhunted me and they wanted me to do this. I said, okay, first time I'm going to lead all the big, tall Americans. And can be quite challenging. Who is this small little Asian coming here to lead us? But because my children were there, so, it's like I'm closer to my children, which is more important. And after a year or so in America, they graduated and both of them flew back to Singapore, leaving my wife and I stranded there. It's like, ah! And so our family is like the opposite of many families. Many families, their children are overseas, their parents are at home. In my family, my children are at home, the parents are overseas. And so I said yes. So I flew from Singapore to the land of McDonald's and all that. And this is where I live, in this state down south called Alabama. Now it's not by the Gulf of Mexico anymore. It is now the Gulf of America. Woohoo! It's not in most tourist maps. Not many people go there. So I live in this city called Mobile. It's pronounced as Mobile, not Mobile, because it used to be a city that builds automobile, right? And so we decided 10 years ago to relocate there and make that decision. I'm going to have a breakthrough. I feel jaded here. Experience everything I need to do. I did TEDx conference in Asia, and I said, okay, let me just have more breakthroughs. And in this city of Mobile, there are only 3 tall buildings. Only 3 tall buildings. And people there ask me, what do you miss most about Singapore when you're here? I said, I miss all the tall buildings. The only thing that's tall over there are the people. This guy is 7'5". Can you imagine? He's the tallest man I ever met. Either that or I'm very short. These two are my staff. Can you imagine that? I'm the smallest guy in the office. And then I do some training and teaching over there. And these are all my class, a postgraduate program. This is my home in Alabama. Small little house, just 700 square feet. 1 bedroom. It's like a studio. Which is good, just 2 of us. Easy for her to clean, not for me. You see, I think about her, right? And so we live in that small little place. And we enjoy ourselves. We drive a 14-year-old car. And yeah, it's good. Simple life. Right? Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Right? So simplify my life. And I'm coming back to complicate my life again in June. So one of the objectives of my organization is to break cycles of poverty around the world. So every year I raise millions of dollars to help this. And one of our projects was in Cambodia. If you look at Cambodia, they are still, suffering in terms of having abject poverty. And the number one killer, the disease is people die mostly from waterborne diseases. So can you imagine? They take the water from the ground to boil, to bathe, to drink, and all that. So they are suffering. And so when we visited this village in Phnom Penh, we thought, hey, we want to do something about it. So we worked with the government of Phnom Penh, and we told the governor and said, hey, you give us land, we'll build houses for your people. We'll build 500 homes. And I think we raised about $4 million to build 500 homes. $4 million US in Singapore, you cannot even buy a good class bungalow. There I built 500 homes. We make that decision, let's do it, let's go for it, and we did. And so we built these houses 20 feet by 40 feet with pipe water going, 25 feet by 45 feet, I think, with pipe water going into each apartment or each house, and with electricity that's there as well. And so we actually completed building 500 homes. We even built a medical center in the city. We call this project Build a City. It's not really a city, But on the day when we supposed to, when we complete the project, the government had assigned homes to all these people who were from the slum. And so there was a signing ceremony. They received the key, they received the title deeds and all that. And a week later, not more than a week, these people sold their houses, and went back to the slum. When you don't change your mind, you still go back. And we learn a lesson that before we give any handout, teach them to change their belief system. Teach them to change their mind. Make that decision. You're going to move in here, you're going to stay here. And your life is going to change. Why go back? Maybe this is what's happening to us. We keep going back to our past. Last time, my akong, my amma, they do all these things. No, your breakthrough does not depend on them. Your breakthrough depends on your life with Jesus. So you got to decide so that you can move on. You can either be that man who laid there for 38 years or be that woman who then decided to crawl towards Jesus. She got her breakthrough. You see, if we are on a spiral downwards, we need to decide, enough is enough. I'm not going to go down any further. Enough is enough. Today, I want to make a decision that my life will change for the better. Today, I will make this decision. Enough is enough. Enough of all this spiraling downwards. You know, when you make that decision today, you are now creating an exception. I used to just mope and cry and do nothing. Today, I'm going to do something about it. That's called an exception to the norm. With that exception, you can build your spiral upwards. Are you ready to make a decision? 3 steps to breakthrough. Number 1, decide what you want. Number 2, you got to determine a plan. A vision without a strategy remains an illusion. And I like your pastor here, Pastor Sabrina. She had many plans how to reach to the many demographic in Singapore. It's like, wow, every time I come in here, there's a new group that she's reaching out to. And just on Tuesday night, your church is reaching out to all the business people and the professionals. It was like, wow. By the way, thank you for the honor of speaking to these people. You got to have vision and you got to have strategy, right? You got to have a plan. Jairus' plan. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to Jesus. I don't care what people is going to say about me. I don't care if I'm going to lose my job. This woman had a plan. I'm going to crawl to Jesus. If you have a vision, if you have a plan, it must come alongside a strategy. Vision and strategy should, create this matrix and give us 4 variables. If you have vision but no strategy, basically you're just speculating. You want to be a millionaire? Yes. Do you have a strategy? No. Speculation. Speculation. You want to grow your church? Yes. Do you have a strategy? No. But I'm so glad Pastor Sabrina had many strategies. No vision, no strategy. We'll just struggle for the rest of our life. Where are you going? Don't know. What are you doing? Don't know. We're just lost. If we have strategy, but no vision, we are stagnant. Vision plus strategy give us success. Then we have that breakthrough. They had a plan. 3 steps to breakthrough. Decide what you want, determine the plan, and then do it and be diligent. I'm going to play a video. I hope the sound is doing okay. Let's watch this video. Oops. Let me just play that again. Okay.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this.
Already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left to do, is there?
Hello? Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he could fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
Don't be stuck. It's a good satire. It reminds us of the story of the lame man. Do you still remember him? 38 years he was stuck. You can have a plan, but you need to execute the plan. You know, John wrote about how we can be more than conqueror in the book of Revelation. He uses the Greek word nikao, which means to conquer, to overcome, and to be victorious. By the way, Nike derived their name from nikao. Just do it. Yeah. You are more than conqueror. Go for it. You know what? Paul says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is my 10 fingers prayer. You got 10 fingers? Okay, not all of you have. Okay, because you don't respond. You got 10 fingers. This is how it goes, right? I can do all things. If you stop here, you're just on your own, right? It is the 6th finger that changes everything. Through Christ who strengthens me. This is me in collaboration with God. This is power. So every time, it's easy to do it now. It's like, hey, yeah, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's when you are down in the doldrum, can you take up your 10 fingers and say this? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This is me. I need the power of God. And me, in collaboration with God, has power. All right, let's do it. 10 fingers. If you're one of the few with the 11th fingers, that's your exclamation mark, okay? Okay, I want you to shout it out and believe that, right? Let's just do it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, not very good. It's like, I can do. Some of you are lost after even the 3rd finger. Which finger am I on now? All right, come on, let's do this. Let's give the oomph. All right, 1, 2, 3. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Me and God together, power. Amen. Just do it. If God is for you, who then can be against you? You know, David just did it. I mean, he faced Goliath. He just go for it. He knew who he has with him. He said to Goliath, you come to me with sword, with spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. But he practiced. He practiced all this slinging of this stone with bears and lions, and there were opportunities to practice. And when it's time to do it, he has a finesse to do that. You got to practice. You got to start doing it. You got to be so that you can be perfect You see, earlier we talked about vision and strategy. Actually, as a psychologist, we're always very good. We always prefer to use matrix. I even wrote a book about this. You got to have vision with strategy, but then you also have to execute your strategy. This matrix creates 4 variables. If we have no strategy, but we just execute, then we are pretty reckless. We are reckless. Chonga! You do not know where you're chonging to. If you have no execution, no strategy, basically you resign your life to the life of defeat. It's a sense of resignation. If you have strategy, but you do not execute them, basically you're just an overthinker. You think and 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 never do anything. But when you execute your strategy, that's where you have your results. Three-step to breakthrough. I hope you got a picture of that. Or if you want a picture of me, I'll be happy to post it for you. 3 steps to victory. Decide what you want. Make that decision today. Then determine a plan. And do it. And be diligent. 3 John 2 says, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things. I want to prosper in all things, my family life, my career. I want to prosper in all things. And that you also may prosper in your health. Yeah, I want to prosper in wealth and in health. And he said, just as your soul prosper. You see, your soul has to prosper in order for you to prosper in all things, in order for you to prosper in your health. And the word soul that he used is the word suke, and this is where we have the word psyche from. The soul is suke. This is where your mind is. You change your mind, you change your life. Decide, determine, and then do it. This guy here was a child soldier during the Khmer Rouge. He was 13 years old when the war broke out. He's the same age as me. Even in the Khmer Rouge, they have many different factions and they were fighting each other as well. And so a faction of Khmer Rouge came into his home. 6 guys from another faction came into his home, dragged his father into the courtyard, and all these 6 men just rained their guns on him, on his dad, and they killed the dad. Right in front of his eyes, 13 years old boy. He saw these 6 men raining their guns, the bullets onto his dad. His uncle heard about this, took this boy in and told him, we're going to find these people who killed your dad and we're going to kill them. So he was roped into his uncle's group of Khmer Rouge. And they found the 6 men that killed his dad. And they paraded them in a courtyard with their hands bound at the back. And the uncle gave this 13-year-old boy a pistol and told him, kill them. He was like, kill them. If you don't kill them, we kill you. So he went to each of them, kneeling on the ground, crying, begging for life. And he went to them and shot them one by one. Bang, 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 bang. All died. And he suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. He's so afraid that these family members of these 6 guys will come after him. Every honk, backfire of a car, he would jump. 20 years after the war, he came to our organization in Cambodia and he asked if he can have a job. And so we make him a driver. Then he became our Mr. MacGyver. He can do everything. He's an electrician. He's a plumber. He can do everything. But he's a very angry man. So he would yell and scream at our children in our children's home. He had yet to be physically abusive to them, but we said enough is enough. He would yell and hurl verbal abuses at them and call them names and all that. And you know, the staff were complaining this guy to me, and I sat down with him and said, look, you gotta decide what you want. You want a job? You want this job? If you want this job, then you gotta quit your lifestyle. You got to make a decision now. If you want this job, make a decision. And he told me this story, why he's like that, why he is so angry, because there's so much pain in him, so much fear in him that his defensiveness come out as being offensive to others. And so we talked to him about Jesus. He asked, what kind of God do you have? I mean, that will forgive someone like me. I killed 6 men, maybe more during the war. I killed 6 men. You think your God will forgive me? I said, yes. Do you want to pray and receive Jesus? And experience a breakthrough, a change, a transformation in your life? He prayed. This is him today with me. He worked for us for 15 years and then he quit to run his own business, like a street store, selling kebabs. And he's now driving a Lexus, by the way. It's bad. He does better than me. I think I need to come to Cambodia and set up this kind of store. And Lexus, that's not a brand new one, but at least he's driving. There was so much change. You see his countenance change. He got married after that. He found a beautiful wife. He had 2 young, beautiful daughters that are now graduating from the university in Siem Reap. Remember the villagers that went back? Narav did not. He went forward. He experienced that breakthrough. Because he decided, he determined on his decision, and he does it. His life's changed. He experienced a breakthrough. Most Cambodians are still stuck in their poverty mindset. He broke through. Maybe these 4 words that Jesus said to Jairus may be applying to us today. Are you afraid? Don't worry. Just believe. Are you wanting to experience a breakthrough in your life today? Don't worry. Just believe. And also, when you make that decision, don't do the tango. Go, don't go, go, don't go. Just decide. Make that decision. Yes to Jesus. See your life change. Can we stand to our feet and let's pray?